Alright, my name is Ralph, and this is my project on keyloggers. Unfortunately, I'm a bit sick, so I may be coughing from time to time during the presentation, so I apologize for that. So what are keyloggers? Keyloggers are basically programs to create records of everything that you type on your computer or mobile keyboard. It's done without the permission of the user or the knowledge of the user, so it can secretly monitor everything that you do or type on the device. Some key things that loggers would make note of would be things like how long it takes you to press the key that you're using, exact time that you press it, and obviously the key that was pressed. So all this information would then be logged and then sent to the person that controls the keylogger, so that now they would have all your information. So keyloggers aren't necessarily a bad thing. They can be used for legitimate purposes, like maybe say a company wants to monitor what their employees are doing on their work devices. But they can also be used for malicious things, like when a criminal wants to steal your data, which can be a pretty big deal considering how much of our information is stored on the devices that we use. So, because of how much we use those devices in our daily lives. So, keyloggers can easily assemble our private data from all that info. So, that data would include things like online banking info, access to social security numbers, your social media activity, email content, and websites that you've been to. So there are two types of keyloggers. Excuse me. One would be software keyloggers, and the other would be hardware keyloggers. So software keyloggers are basically programs that are installed onto your device and are executed when needed. Some of these software keylogger types would be things like API-based keyloggers, which log the signals sent from each key press to the program that you're typing into, and then save them into a system file. There are also ones called form grabbing based keyloggers, which basically log all the text that you've entered onto a website before that information is sent to the web server. Because the way it works is that your data is actually saved locally before it's sent to that web server, like if you're filling out a form or something. And then hardware keyloggers are keyloggers that are physically built into your device or physically connected into it. So an example of this would be something like a keyboard keylogger, which is the keylogger is basically placed in line with the keyboard's connection cable or built into the keyboard itself in order to intercept your typing signals, or even things like surveillance cameras in buildings, excuse me, can be used to monitor overhead what people are typing into their computer. That could be another form of a keylogger as well. Just to get into more detail about the reasons as to why keyloggers would be used, we can look at some of the legal and illegal uses. So for a keylogger to be used in a legal way, they basically have to involve no criminal usage of the data. So you can't be doing anything bad once you've collected that data from that device. The device that the keylogger is installed onto should be owned by the person that owns the keylogger. So it can't be installed on a device that isn't yours, basically. And obviously, don't break any local laws within the area that you're located in. And then also, just to mention, the person that is being monitored doesn't have to be made aware. It's okay. It's still legal if the person that's being logged isn't aware that they're being logged. So some examples of some legal uses of keyloggers would be if you need to, excuse me, if you need to get some maybe feedback on a device that you're testing to get some user errors that might arise, or if you need to monitor access to devices just to make sure no unauthorized users are accessing them. So some illegal uses of keyloggers would basically be where they've ignored all the rules of, following local laws, making sure that you own the product. That's just completely disregarded in order to achieve some sort of illegal activity. So this keylogger would be used to capture your sensitive information, which would then be sent to third parties for criminal usage. Examples of this would be if someone wants to get access to your online account, to spy on your social media activity, maybe view email content that you have, or steal personal information like credit card numbers. And then just to mention, this type of keylogger would at this point be classified as malware or spyware to be specific. So I thought it would be interesting to look at real world examples of keyloggers being used. But unfortunately, I couldn't really find any, uh, at least not anything really detailed. I guess this might be because it really happens, or companies just do a really good job at hiding the fact that they were attacked by a keylogger, maybe just to save face for their customers. I don't know. But I did find an example of a program that was used, a keylogger program that was used called Olympic Vision back in 2015. And the basis is, sorry, the basis of this is that the criminals that owned Olympic Vision used this to target key employees at various companies in 18 different countries. And they did this by spreading the keylogger through phishing schemes, which consisted of them sending emails to these key employees. I'm guessing maybe the employees worked in like finance or accounting, something like that. And they would pretend to be business partners, inquiring them about a bank transfer that went wrong. And they would use that to have those employees send them their bank details and then log that information to the keylogger. So the interesting thing about Olympic Vision is that it wasn't really even that advanced of a program or expensive to purchase. It just collected the basic information about the system, along with login credentials that were saved in several applications on the system, and keystrokes that have recently been used. So it's interesting to see how something as simple as that has the potential to do so much damage to the system or the company that owns the system. But obviously, this keylogger has been patched in many systems, so it's not really that much of a threat anymore. So now I think it's good to go over some ways to prevent getting attacked by keylogging attacks. So obviously the main thing to do would be to have some, excuse me, to have some form of security software installed on your system to actively shield against any form of malware. So any type of antivirus would be sufficient enough. Making sure those security programs are up to date, the latest threats and definitions of those threats. And then this would also include keeping your own applications updated just to decrease the chance of any vulnerabilities popping up. Also, do not plug in any USB drives or external drives into your PC if you don't know exactly what's on them, because sometimes many criminals will leave USB sticks out in the open to taunt people to try and take them. and then those people install them to their computer or the mobile device, and then that's how the keylogger will get installed on their system without them even knowing. You can also use password managers just to avoid having to type in your credentials every time, just in case a keylogger is on your system. You won't really be able to detect anything if you're using a password manager to just autofill what you need to log into. Knowing how to detect keyloggers on your system can be useful, but there isn't really any special way to detect them, except just for looking for the usual signs of malware being on your system. So these symptoms can include things like your computer becoming really slow, or you have a lot of laggy mouse movements or laggy keystrokes, or you start receiving random error messages on your system. But well-designed, like commercial grade keyloggers, like ones owned by companies, or ones owned by maybe a company you would work for to monitor you, you wouldn't really be able to detect that it's on there. It wouldn't cause any weird issues with the system, so it's pretty much impossible to detect. And then these are the sources that I used to do my research. So there is one other thing that I wanted to do. Let me just show you. So over here, I actually made a program that acts as a keylogger. So this isn't really a programming class. I'm not really going to get into the details of how it works. But basically, it will monitor when the program is running, it will monitor everything that I'm typing and then send it to a text file and save it there. And as you can see, it's only 25 lines of code, or 26. So it's not really that difficult to make something like this. So, which I found very surprising. I thought I was going to spend days trying to figure this out, but I only did it in like 2 hours, I believe. So let me run the program to show you how it works. So the program is running now. So I can just come here, then type that. So I hit escape to end the program, as you can see here. So now it's saved it to a text file called logged right here. We'll go here, and this is the text file right here. As you can see, it was just updated, looking at the time. If I open it, it has everything that I typed right here. So if I was on a website and this program was running and I was typing in my login information, all of that would get saved over here, which is pretty scary if you think about it. But yeah, just wanted to show you how easy it was to create something like that. And yeah, that's the end of my project. I had a fun time learning about keyloggers. I didn't really know that much about them before this. So I think my time with this was well spent. Okay. Again, I apologize for the coughing that was going on, but